Xochitl Gonzalez.
And I'm Myra Castillo, and we're here with Besties in Business, B2BTV, and today we're really excited to have Erica Weiner here.
We're really excited. We're big fans.
I brought my Erica Weiner necklace to hear all about your jewelry line and how you got started, and we've been big fans for a really long time, so we're really excited to have you join us.
I'm excited to be here.
Yay! So tell us a little about your journey.
I started making jewelry. It was right at the beginning of the sort of Brooklyn craft, handmade jewelry, local designer, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was
pre-flea.
It was actually, you know what, it was at the same time the flea started.
Okay.
And I was at the first Brooklyn, or was that the first artisan fleas ever?
Oh yeah.
I was one of 5 people who had a table. It
Wow.
was in McCarran Park, and I had to bring my own table. And it was me, the girl Erica Bradbury, who runs Species by the Thousands.
Yes.
Who's also like totally still killing it. Who else was there? I think Vera Meat was there.
Who's also still killing it. Yeah.
And a couple other t-shirt designers were
a
big thing too.
Oh yeah.
But there were 5 of us. I think the rent was $45 or something per table.
Wow.
But nobody knew what artisan fleas was or a flea market. It wasn't a thing yet. Did that every weekend because I made a little extra money.
Yeah.
It was seriously like my play going out money.
Yeah.
And then I realized like the money was just getting a little more each week, and I'd buy more supplies, make a little more money, make some more jewelry, buy some more supplies, and then suddenly it was like time to quit my job.
Right.
Wow.
Like 3 months later.
Wow.
4 months later.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's like a crazy.
I find it amazing too. I think now the distance from that beginning, because I don't think you can do that anymore without like seed money. Or PR and like a whole team to push you to the front of the noise.
It was like a different time. Well, we feel the same way. Like we started a wedding business 11 years ago, and at the time,
now wedding is like
wedding is like weddings weren't a thing then, and that was like the whole thing. It's like we were sort of like, oh, like maybe you can have an unusual wedding, and people were like, oh, that's really radical.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're the only one who can help me.
Yeah. You're the only one that can help me, and now it's sort of like you're getting married at a hotel, like like it's like so. It's so interesting how it's the time was part of what made it right.
So much.
Yeah.
It was nice to get in early.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you feel that way too.
Totally.
And you still have respect in your industry.
So what was the next, so you quit your job, you now are like, I can do this full time. Like, what is the next step?
The next step after that was hiring someone and finding enough space to do the work without it encroaching. It was basically we were doing it in my apartment.
Right.
And that went on for about a year.
Okay.
Then the next thing was signing a commercial lease, which was terrifying for a studio.
Was that in the Village? Was that like the
first
space
one
in the
was
Village?
on the Lower East Side.
Yeah. Okay.
And I loved it so much, and it like had such a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
That we really just moved about a year ago out of there, even though we'd like way outgrown it.
Yeah. It was like an emotional attachment.
Oh yeah, I cried when I left. The whole thing.
I get it. Yeah, I actually get it. We had the shittiest office as like our first office space. I didn't even have windows, but it just had such like a nice vibe.
Oh, because you remember, like I think that what happens is you have a business for so long, and then now, I don't want to say we're jaded, but like things happen and you're just like, yeah, I mean, all I do is work. Of course, this good
huge
stuff
success.
is happening to me, right?
Yeah.
But like when you just start your business, these things that happen, you're just like, oh my gosh, let's take the rest of the day off and go out for a drink. You know, like, and you don't feel that joy. Like, it's harder to feel that.
You know, I have it, and actually, my best friend is my business partner.
Right.
Also.
Oh, okay.
She's sort of like not even a silent partner. The business was started with my name.
Right.
But she got on board like that 3 months after I started. A couple years into the business, I really wanted to change the name from my name because it's really a bigger thing than just me. I mean, I'm definitely like head honcho, designer, overseer, taskmaster.
Yeah.
But she's basically my partner, and now she does really most of the wedding really skilled stuff. Like she's the gemologist.
Oh,
she
wow.
knows about the diamonds.
So it's not even like your business partner is actually like, she's not handling just the business side of things. She's like another designer. Oh, that's so interesting. Wow.
We both buy the antiques together.
Okay.
We design the fine jewelry together. I'm still totally doing like all of the costume jewelry on my own. And all the design, like the branding, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Which to me just feels like making decisions about what looks good and what looks bad.
So from the flea market, where is it now? Like you have retail.
Now we have 2 retail stores. We have a website that does proportionately a huge amount of business. I found out like in relation to how other people perform. Other small companies may have a website and a store and another store. And usually the web business is sort of like their little
it picks
extra
up,
money maker.
Yeah.
But our web business is really the biggest part of our business.
Wow.
I'm not sure exactly how we got there.
Okay.
But when I realized how well it was doing, we invested in a big redesign, which is a new website's launching in February probably.
Oh,
awesome.
Wow.
And it's going to be all like, kind of like more focused on the jewelry nerd history stuff.
Okay.
It's really cool.
That's
That's
our
really
website
cool.
it feels a little outdated right now, but
yeah, there's nothing more embarrassing than looking at an outdated website for yourself. We just redid ours, and it was like by the end, like I was like painful, like to look.
Yeah,
was, like,
you have to update it, and you're like,
oh my
why
god,
am I even?
It was like a relationship that you just can't seem to end fast enough. Like it was like, oh god, get away from me. Like
this isn't who I am anymore.
I know.
Guys. This isn't
Yeah, it's
who I
like you're
am.
judging me on nothing. Yeah. So I guess like. Do you find, because you're very creative and hands-on in the creative, but are you both also managing the business, or do you have another person that kind of does that?
I manage the business.
Really?
And the thing is, I think my real talent, like my secret talent, is business.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely not a learned talent. Like I could do myself a lot of favors by getting a business, an MBA or something. But,
right.
the fact that, the business is about 9 years old and it's always been profitable.
Wow.
Like,
that is.
Apparently, I did it on the fly and like, everyone's like, how'd you do that? I'm like, I just didn't spend more money than I had. And they're like, that's a groundbreaking economic
That is a
concept.
groundbreaking concept.
And I'm like, well, that's how it happened in the beginning. Like, if I had $80, I spent like $60 on supplies.
Right.
And then, like, what?
Do you find that, like, doing it that way, do you find that you sort of informed your designs earlier with what materials you could afford?
When we were working at the Brooklyn Flea or whatever, I was making most of the jewelry was $35 a piece.
Yeah.
It was like the sweet price.
Right.
Because that's how much I would spend comfortably
Totally.
on a piece.
Totally.
Right.
And yeah, that was great. And I felt like those were those people, those $35 like little extra piece of my paycheck for necklace people.
Yeah.
I understood it and I could design that stuff well because I was them.
Right.
I was one of them. And now I, feel like I'm getting a little more into investment pieces.
Yeah.
And my partner is even more into like these big, like save up for 6 months and get something amazing pieces.
Right.
Yeah.
And now we get to do that. I think, there became a point where Etsy became sort of a place where anything you made, you could see it for cheaper on other people's Etsy. And it was almost like a killer for us putting our designs online because like immediately there'd be
a knockoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess what we did almost without 100% knowing it consciously was start to look for the next thing to sort of get in before the crowd.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing now is a ton of antique jewelry hipster brands.
Yes.
And it's really coming up fast.
Yeah.
And I thought it might be really safe for us to sell these like wonderful, rare, British 1700s weird emerald snake ring things.
Right.
Yeah.
But now everyone's looking for those things and they're like finding our dealers and going there. Oh my God, it's just one more way that it's almost like this other business we started that's the other people are closing in fast.
So now you have really successful online, but you have 2 brick and mortar. What's the lure of the brick and mortar, and what are the benefits? What's the negative? Like, why in this day and age would you still do it? Do you feel like it's a branding investment? Like, I'm just curious. Like, I'm curious because I feel like that's a major like conundrum for so many people, right?
It's still something I'm trying to figure out.
Okay.
Our first space was is on Elizabeth Street, like almost right up against the butt of Chinatown.
Yeah.
Tiny little beautiful space, and I knew I wanted it. Like I just felt a real strong pull. It used to belong to this clothing designer, Lyell, that I always liked, and I used to go in there when I was just like fresh out of college, and I was like, oh my God, New York is so great. Whatever it takes. And then when she left, we swooped in. I just was fixated on getting this space. Didn't want any other space. And we had a friend who's another jewelry designer in God We Trust. Her name is Shayna. She had just been sort of opening these brick and mortar stores in and around Williamsburg. There's one in Soho now, there's one in Greenpoint now. She was sort of a cheerleader for me and was like, if you're running a wholesale business and doing the web, like brick and mortar is easy. All you do is like bring in some furniture and put out the jewelry, and it's like, does it sell?
She literally,
she also is like the hardest
that was
work.
Really
little simplified, but we're like, really great, like that sounds easy.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that we had to get, in order to get insurance for a jewelry store, you have to have like a 3-ton safe and motion detectors and like thousands of dollars worth of security.
Wow.
And like special locks and buzzers and lights and infrared, like it's like crazy. That's one thing we didn't know. We also didn't know that in New York City, jewelry stores are target for break-ins a lot. And it kind of becomes part of your business.
Really?
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Like
wow.
How you've gotten broken into before.
Oh yeah, like held up, broken into, safe. Someone tried to crack the safe. Like
wow.
And so much shoplifting. It's a part of brick and mortar.
It's just a part of brick and mortar. Like that's almost like a line in your annual budget, like is loss and theft. Wow.
Yeah. Then what else didn't we know? Well, you know, when we started the business, actually, I didn't know what sales tax was.
Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't collect it.
How
for
many
like a year
people
and a
did that burn? Yeah.
I didn't know.
Gosh, I know.
That almost stopped my business in its second year.
Right.
Because they're like, you owe $60,000 or something like that. Maybe it wasn't that much, but I was like, what? For what? Like, why? No.
Yeah.
And then I had to sort of come up with that somehow. And employing people is a whole like tough.
We can have a separate conversation.
It's really hard.
It's really hard. It's really hard. But so the benefits for the brick and mortar, though, you find are like branding and
it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
To go. Well, when it comes to weddings, people definitely want to see the engagement ring they're buying.
That's totally true. Yes.
That was. I mean, we didn't open the store quite when we were getting really into engagement rings and antiques. We were maybe just beginning. But yeah, there was that thing where people want to see what they're buying.
Yeah.
And our store was and is so tiny. It's like 190 square feet.
Yeah.
So it just seemed like, okay, this is like a artisan fleas booth.
Right.
We already have this nailed down.
Right.
We just tried it. We somehow got the space for pretty cheap, and we were having a great year. It was like 2007?
Yeah.
Great year for everyone,
I think so.
And then we just did it. If we'd known more, we probably would have thought about it more.
Yeah.
We learned as we went.
Yeah.
We worked there every day ourselves. And it made us feel really legit in New York.
Totally.
To have an address, to be like part of the New York fabric of the businesses and boutiques and
totally, and that's such a huge part of New York. Like it was
then more than it is now.
I know, totally. Totally. Do you find at this stage in the game you still have to play like that fashion placement game, like of trying to like get things to celebrities and like, or do you feel
never did it?
Yeah.
Probably I'm never gonna really do it.
Good. That's interesting. I mean, I say good because it's nice to see people that don't have to go that route. You know, like
no.
Yeah.
I mean, some cool people collect and wear our stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I know Maggie Gyllenhaal's a big fan. Amy Sedaris is like my proudest moment. It's like Amy Sedaris comes in and collects things.
That's cool.
But we don't ask them for photographs or promote it or anything.
Right.
Because it's tacky
yes.
as hell and cheesy. Yeah. And I think some people pay to have that kind of stuff put on celebrities.
Totally.
But it's not, you know, we thought like maybe we should do that. Because, you know, after 2008, probably a tough year for us financially was 2012. And we just were like we had this big growth before and we kept hiring people, and then suddenly like we're like, what are we doing? Like, what is our business? Like, we do this, we sell $20 necklaces, we sell like $10,000 rings. Like it was getting really like heavy and unwieldy and unfocused. And we had like a PR person, and we're like, I don't even know what they're doing. Like, it's so weird. She's like, I have your goods on Lindsay Lohan. I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah. Right.
Like, but you were saying before, like, you have to figure out who you are, what your audience likes or liked about you. Try to be honest. And I know a bunch of the jewelry designers who started out with me. I can almost name like 10 of us. We all know each other, we all respect each other, give each other a lot of space, support each other when we can, and we don't rip each other off. It's like an unspoken law of like female accessories people.
Yes.
Right.
And then there's this almost like new wave of jewelers, and everyone's making the same freaking things.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the stick earring.
The stick earring.
The
oh God.
stick earring.
Yes.
And so like some of us in the like 10 old grandma jewelry designers were like, are you making a stick earring? And someone will be like, yeah, I'm making a stick earring. And they're selling like, they're my best seller. I'm making a fucking stick earring.
Yeah.
But so we're like, what do we do? Do you do it?
Yeah.
Do you do the stick earring even though you think it's like, I mean, whatever. They're pretty, but it's not me, and it's not something I made. It's just something I'm ripping off to rip it off to make $1, and like, then I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's like, it's a hard balance.
We need to pay our people, and that's what people want to wear.
Yeah, right.
It's unfortunately. How do you decide what you want to make? Like, how do you decide what especially because you do so many antiques, like what you're drawn to, like what makes you see a piece and think like this is for us? I design things in a lot of different ways. I don't really have a method that I go back to over and over. Like the piece you're wearing was something I found that was antique that I was like, can we make like a modified copy of this? Can we figure out how to make a hinged locket? We've never done it, but if we can figure that out, we have to make this.
Yeah.
Then sometimes
it opens up. Then with the fine jewelry, we do some jewelry that's sort of like, again, inspired by this beautiful antique pieces. I'm not actually wearing any of it right now.
I was gonna say, you're like,
I came from the studio. Usually I go to the store and like load up on stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I just didn't have time. So I'm wearing earrings actually from our line that are these little carved moths or insects in gold that were based on an image of these ancient Egyptian or Roman earrings that were either in the Met or like the British National, some museum, like 3,000 years old, sort of roughly carved. And now we have this this woman I hired who went to SCAD, which is this Savannah College of Art and Design for jewelry. She's like a brilliant miniature sculptor. And I was like, can you make some crazy like flies that sort of look like a boomerang shape but with eyes and make it look kind of like prehistoric a little? She made a few, and I sort of like picked from the thing. I showed her the image. I was like, make it even more rough.
Yeah.
And then we did a couple little like that's one way we design stuff. But the fine jewelry line, a lot of the time, it's a question of finding stones that are available in old cuts.
Right.
Like we found a place to get these square cut diamonds and square cut sapphires that either are from the 1920s or look like the same. They're called caliber cuts from the 1920s. And we're like, we have access to these sort of like history like they look and feel perfectly like this old style of cutting, and we're like, we gotta do something with these.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very, I never learned how to use, I never learned like technical drawing or CAD or any of that stuff. So since I'm not really interested in learning that, we don't use that.
Right.
I think it really makes things very much easier.